Welcome back to the Dopesick Show you won't get sick of. I'm Spencer and this is Sasha. Spent most of my 20s in federal prison, but I've been off heroin since April 9, 2010. Got a lot of stories about the dumb stuff I did to get put in prison. Also got a lot of stories about the crazy stuff that actually happened when I was in prison. And God forbid you end up in prison. You want to make some of the same mistakes I made. So, tree. There's a couple trees. Now this big tree, a lot of time they call them tree because they're tall as a tree. Now this guy was a big old boy. I mean, this big old dude. He's probably about 6'4", 260, but part of his name was Tree. It was short, okay, and he was local. He was local to Petersburg, and being local to Petersburg, one of the things that made me there were a number of things made me instantly not like this person. See, I started on the second floor of Carolina Hall, and there are 3 TV rooms that have doors to them. The one upstairs has one TV in it. That's pretty much exclusively a black TV room. And my first day that I showed up to Petersburg, when I took the rest of my medication that they gave me a month prior to going in, because imagine yourself surrender on an 8-year sentence. You just walk into the prison, hi, ready to go to prison, no transport. You just show up at the prison. That's what they allowed me to do so I could finish drug court. Well, in my altered state of mind, I just plopped my butt down in someone's chair in the all-black TV room. They had kickboxing in. I saw it through the window beside the door. I was like, oh, shoot, I'm going to go and watch that. And I plopped down in a chair next to this dude. Now, Big True's big, but Big Shaq was giant. This dude's like 6'6", 300 pounds, bald head, glasses, just angrily looking at me. And I'm just like, yeah, I kickbox a little, blah, blah. And I was probably sounding like this whenever I was talking. They just looked at me. Well, I ended up not having any issues. Actually ended up becoming, I wouldn't say good friends or anything, but, me and the Big Shaq guy, we ended up being cool later on. He asked me later on, man, you was on something when you got here, right? I said, dude, imagine turning yourself in on an 8-year sentence. I said, I self-surrendered. I walked up and said, hi, I'm here. And he's like, that makes sense, man. He said, I thought you was one of them spaced out space cadet Spunion, whatever you call, burnout mothers, I was like, nah, man, a little bit altered state. But anyway, across from that TV room, when you first enter the building to the right, there's a doorway that separates the whole lower part from the upper part. And that doorway has a set of stairs that go up the top. There's an open TV room with 2 TVs. My first 6 months, I sat up against that rail. When I drank the tomato wine, I actually had a pretty good system to keep from staying out of trouble. This building had no cameras. Whenever they come breathalyze the people, they'd breathalyze the people that was hanging out. If people drank in their room, they didn't bother those people. But me sitting against that rail, when they came through the stairs, I could see them before they saw me, and you could hear the keys jingling. They'd have a whole crew of people rush the place. So I would just whoop, zoot back, hit the door. It opens to that quadrant. Go back to my cell, lay down, put the covers over my head. Now I did that the first 6 months. I didn't drink the last 4.5 years. Not one single bit, not one single time, not once. But first 6 months I did that a good bit. But anyway, in that open TV room, there's 2 TVs. The right TV, Tree would mess with. Now he's bald head, and he talked like that mush mouth on Fat Albert. Well, it wasn't quite that bad, but yeah, he mumbled when he talked, and all this type of stuff. And then he laughed. It's funny when you got a big guy that's talks like low, and then they got like this crazy laugh. But he was just so annoying it couldn't even be funny. It was annoying, and everybody'd look at each other like, because he laughed. I'm like, man, shut up, Lord, like literally, and laugh like that. Now, what made me instantly not like him, and I don't guess this was through any fault of his own. There was a woman CO there, and chubby woman who was local, And this woman, actually, she didn't seem to like Didn't seem like white people, first off, which you'd have white cops that did the same thing, and you'd have Spanish cops that did the same thing. You'd had cops, COs, turnkeys. I'm giving them a little too much credit. Speaking of which, this same CO one time, she called me downstairs for something, and I was like nervous because I was like, what are they calling me down there for? I hadn't been there for more than a month or two, and they called me, and she was outside standing with four other COs, and she's like, you have some mail that I needed to give you, blah blah. I forgot it later, and I said, oh shoot. I said, I got nervous there for a minute. I said I walk outside and there's 4 or 5 COs waiting on me. I said, I thought I'd done something wrong, and they all just looked stern faced, not amused at my little joke. She goes, Mom Powell, we are not COs. We are federal officers. And I'm thinking, if that makes you feel better, I mean, I guess technically. I mean, at the Roanoke County, technically, they're sheriff's deputies. But if you turn a key and babysit adult men, you're a CO, okay? And, you know, there were some good COs. I'm not trying to trash COs, but, I mean, she just really annoyed me because, like, she was ready to write me a shot, an institutional charge, for having ketchup in a hot sauce bottle, but turned out it wasn't ketchup, it was hot sauce. I drenched everything with sriracha. You could buy that on commissary. Oh, yeah, with the green top. Ooh. Put that on everything. Sometimes people see how much sriracha I was dipping my fries into, and they figure, shoot, he got a bottle of ketchup. They'd squirt it on their tray. They'd get them big old scoop of it. They start crying because they thought, oh, shoot, he's eating that much of it. It's got to be ketchup. But nah, I ate that much sriracha. But anyway, her being that way towards me about having a bottle, possibly something from the kitchen, that they put on salad bars. The ketchup they put on salad bars. Like, it's not like you get a pack of it. They literally would have a whole thing of ketchup. You know, like in those trays they switch out on salad bars, they'd put a tray of ketchup on there on hamburger day. And you know those like circular scoops, those serving scoops they use in kitchens? They'd have one of those in the kitchen. So people would load the ketchup up on their trays, and then they'd squeeze the bottle and suck it back up in it, so then they'd have a bottle of ketchup for later. And then this guy Tree, though, she knows him. She'd be sitting up there talking with him. Now, it's not like this woman ain't a looker, okay? She ain't a looker. One of the sweatiest people I've ever seen in my life. And anyway, always sweating, always wiping the sweat off her head and face. But her favoritism towards certain people, towards him specifically, is what made me not like him instantly. Along with that laugh and a number of things made me not like him. But anyway, he's making raps. He's making raps, which is a common hustle in prison. People will buy bread bags of meat. You usually buy a bread bag of meat for $5 to $10. Roast beef, chicken, whatever. You got ice machines, so you know keep it fresh. But you buy the wraps off commissary, and they chop up some vegetables, some cheese. You get a bag of cheese, a giant bag of cheese like this. You get cheese cheaper in prison than you could on the street. At Petersburg, anyway. They would sell these giant bags of cheese. I know because I just went shopping like 3 or 4 days ago. What I ended up paying $6, $7 for a bag of cheese was about like this. Good sized bag, but this bag of cheese is like this that you buy in prison. Now everything else, yeah, but I mean it's stolen, you know. So it's according to, you know, supply, demand, and all that. But anyway, they make wraps. They'll buy a $10 bag of cheese. That's enough to make like 100+ wraps. Okay, a tray of meat is 3 bread bags of meat. Shoot, you probably make 100 wraps off that. Plus, you know, 10 onions, 10 green peppers. So you got $10 of meat, $10 of cheese, $10 of onions, $10 of green peppers, $10 of the wraps. You know, basically off that's like a $50 investment, and you're making back 100 at least off of that. Then they'd fry them too. They got these things called stingers. That's a whole different story. But he's up there making wraps with stuff that's stolen from the kitchen, stuff you're supposed to be getting wrote up if you get caught with. She's sitting up there, he talking about people they know. Yeah, so and so from around what? What's he doing? Oh, he's doing blah 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 blah. And I'm like sitting there thinking, this woman's getting ready to write me up for some ketchup, and she's sitting there and she told, I'm about to try the raps, blah, blah, blah. They're good. She's trying to help him sell his raps to me, and she's a CO. You see how that can be annoying? Once she saw that my ex, who I affectionately refer to as a no good, down dirty hussy, was black, she actually started being never nice, but not as bad to me. That was something I saw, and you saw stuff like that. You know, it's weird racial stuff that you saw with stuff which I wasn't used to going into prison. And at the medium security is a whole different story, but at the low security. But anyway, that was something that was annoying. So I ended up going to the medium. I ended up coming back. There's a whole issue I've talked about numerous times. I walked around the building. 4 out of 7 TVs had the Kardashians on them. 2 TVs had sports. 1 TV had Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish. I know a little bit and I do business, but you know, I'm not going to sit there and understand what's going on Gordo and Flaco or Telemundo. I don't know enough about it. And, you know, even if I did, it doesn't look like something I'd be interested in, to be honest with you. So, 4 TVs, I don't want to keep up with the Kardashians. I don't care, okay? And there was some circumstances where I ended up having the TV. There's 2 TV rooms downstairs. The right side TV room, the right side TV, that's the one I pretty much, you know, had reign of. Now, they didn't like, it's a lot of older middle-aged inmates, stuff like that down there. I made sure they got their news and stuff on, and then, you know, a lot of the young, it was weird because it was a bunch of older inmates and a bunch of young inmates in this room. The other TV rooms had scattered ages and stuff. The one to the left of us had the Spanish TV, but also had a sports TV, and they were gambling in there. They played poker, ran tickets. They were always gambling, yelling, arguing about that. You'd hear it through the wall. But anyway, they didn't like MMA. Didn't particularly like MMA. So as a courtesy, you know, I'm not a prick. I'm not a bully. Even though this is my TV on the right hand side that pretty much I'm running the schedule to, like, these guys, they're not into that. It's not their thing. They don't like MMA. And it's on like it was a Saturday morning, I believe. I can tell you the fight. I remember the fight. It was Junior Dos Santos versus Ben Rothwell. Okay, that was the fight. Junior Dos Santos beat the piss out of him. But we're watching upstairs, watching a number of things, and they're getting ready to go to lunch. Yeah, they're getting ready to go to lunch. You look up the times on this. Junior Dos Santos versus Ben Rothwell. It had to come on in the morning. But anyway, watching up there for a minute on the one TV, he's trying to control both TVs. Okay, and there's some stuff I've gotten some other stories about him. But anyway, it's such and such time. He ends up, you know, they end up turning the TV. Now, this ain't my TV. Now, I'm sitting there thinking, you know, I get annoyed by that, and I know people are going to lunch. But he turns the TV, and then after he turns the TV on what I was watching and goes downstairs and stands and waits for them to call our building for lunch. So you just turn the TV and you're not going to sit there and watch it. I got vocal. I got ignorant, I got loud, and I let people know what I thought about him. Now, it was bad enough that he turned the TV, but he turned it to something that I had a very strong feeling about. At Petersburg, they have a program for the chomos at the medium. A lot of them filter down to the low security. In the TV room, which I control the TV, I did not allow certain TV shows. Law and Order SVU, I felt like they got ideas off that. There was certain stuff, if you'd watch these deviants watch it, it would upset you. It would upset you because you could see certain looks, certain things, and it looked like the wheels were turning in their head, and I just didn't like it. Now, turn the TV. This might not be the right name of the show. I don't know a whole lot about all this stuff, but it was like one of them Dance Mom TV shows. But it wasn't like it wasn't the little white girls with that fat white woman that's teaching them how to do it. You know, it was like this hip hop dance thing for, like, you know, young girls that were like, you know, they were young, they're like preteen, something like that, but they're wearing spandex and they're doing booty hip hop dances that, you know, whatever, you know, hip hop dance, express yourself and all that. But you got these girls that are like preteen age. It's mostly okay. It's like more like the hip hop version of of whatever that other one is. What's that fat white woman's name? Abby something. It's like the hip hop version of that. Okay, now it annoyed me for a number of reasons, but you got these girls doing these booty dances and stuff, and as soon as this comes on, I see a couple of the old weird white men, the old chomos, and there's chomos of every type, but these guys just like, you could read them. You could read them like it was like they had no impulse control. They popped their chairs down and started watching, just so happy to see it. Now, I got mad because okay, you turn the TV, you walk downstairs waiting for lunch to be called, and this happened. So I started saying, you're going to turn TV to stuff. I said, you're going to turn TV to Chomo. But I said, stuff Chomo's watching. You're going to be watching bunch of girls at pre-teen, 12, 13 years old doing booty dance. I started going off on it. And what I always heard, the excuse was, oh, we don't watch it for them. We don't watch it for them. We watch it because the moms. We like to look at the moms. People will watch the dumbest stuff in prison because they say they're looking at the women. They got people that sell smut. Okay, the pictures like pictures you get of your family. They have, like, they trade around like trading cards of adult stars, stuff like that. Then they got the, underground, the magazines, dirty magazines that are adult dirty magazine. Yeah, that's normal. Get that instead of watching trash TV. That's no. I mean, you're a gangster. You're a gangster. You're 40 years old and claim to be a gangster, and you're going to be watching this show of preteen girls booty dancing. Come on. So I let it be known. I let it be vocal. Now, saw him making faces and everything else, and I saw him go to this other young guy, this other young fella who liked to be loud, in the mix and everything else. That fella's probably about, I don't know, he's probably about 5'10", 170, 180. Tree's about 6'4", 260, bald head. He's about 60, 70 pounds overweight, but I mean, it's a big bone man, But, I watch just, okay, being a guy, being a dude, you watch people, like Rick James said, you get with a guy, come up, see one of your buddies, and you throw him up, you slap, you see how quick, see who's the quickest, see who can do something. And he couldn't do nothing, okay? I know that. I know he couldn't do nothing, okay? I saw, there's big people that absolutely are destroyers that go through and could crush any average 3 men in there. He wasn't it. He's big for nothing. And I knew that. All mouth. Along with some other stuff I'll tell in some other ones. See, I wasn't even going, I wasn't even thinking about this, because when I start thinking about this, I get annoyed all over again. I get mad all over again thinking about this, about how stupid this was and how stupid he was. And then, but me talking with my buddy the other day, and we were just bouncing stories off, he bounced this story back off, because basically, Tree and the other young fella came up to me downstairs when they was waiting to go eat. And because I had stepped out for a second, what I did was I went back down the TV room, in which I had the remote for that TV, the right TV room on the right hand side, and I said, "Listen, guys," and I made it some big thing. I called Big Roswell. I gave him a nickname. It wasn't even his nickname. I said, "Big Nasty's fighting this big old Brazilian dude," and there's an old man, this old black man, blue, like, "Big Nasty," and I said, "Yeah, Big Nasty is what they call him, big old Nasty." But this Brazilian guy is smaller than him, but he can fight. He's going to whoop Big Nasty. Now, and I just created a storyline in which they got into. He's like, "Oh, that sounds kind of interesting, actually." And it was actually a batter, and Ben Rothwell got beat to pieces by Junior Dos Santos, who, former world champion. He's an incredible fighter. But anyway, I get that TV, but I step back out. Now, when people get ready to go eat, when you go open this building, it's about a 15-foot wide area. There's 3 computers with 3 desks, and it goes about 20, 30 foot back to the 2 TV rooms. 50 to 80 people crowd this area. When they pop that door and call our building to eat, grown men are like little kids trying to speed walk I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna be first to eat. You know, like it's like that. It's like that. I made most of my food from commissary. Last couple of years, you know, except fried chicken day. You always catch me in the kitchen on fried chicken day. But I walk out, and they come up to me, Trent and this other guy, like, said something about Chomos want to put on the TV up there, and they was expecting me. They was expecting, you know, because it was two of them, for me to, you know, well, you know, what I really meant was this. And I said, yeah, I'm gonna tell you why too. And I got my finger out there, and is what my friend I was talking to laughed about. He said you knew you was mad every time you was mad. He said because you dropped that right foot back and you start doing your two fingers. I never did this. You see a lot of comics like, I'm gonna tell you something, you know, like that Polly guy off the Supreme. I never did that. That felt corny to me. At that wasn't that. But these two fingers would come out. And I said, I'm gonna tell you. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. You wanna go up there and we fighting, which is a man's sport. You put two men in the cage to see who can beat the piss at each other. You're going to turn the TV, come down here. So then I have to come down in this TV room, and I have to turn TV on people. And I said, and then make me look like a prick. So the rest of us that were watching that can finish watching that. To turn it on a show, a young girl's booty shaking, and I named the two chomos that come out, and I'm like, so they can sit down at the say, like two weirdos with milk duds melting in their lap, sitting at a park, you know, nah. And when I started doing this, and, you know, they were expecting me to cower down and all this. You know, and of course, you know, I had to handle myself and everything else. I felt they weren't going to do anything, you know. But, you know, came up ready, and I was heated. Like, if you're going to speak up on something, you better be ready to stand on it. You can't speak up on something and cower down and back down and be like, well, actually, what I meant was... No, there wasn't none of that. This was me being mad. And it was something I felt strongly about, because it wasn't just about the TV. It was about the weirdos watching stuff that I felt like stimulated their minds, you know, like had the wheels turning. I went in on this, and, you know, basically, and I ended the conversation, and I said, and listen, I said, I came down here. I turned this TV on because I wasn't going to deal with it. I did that to get away, to get out of this situation, because I felt myself getting... And the one guy said, tried to make himself feel like, well, yeah, you did the right thing. I said, I know I did, because I knew it was going to happen if I stayed up there. I wasn't going to let him get the last word in. But apparently, talked to my buddy, this was like a big situation where he got punked down, that a lot of people felt like it was a long time coming, because it wasn't even him that was doing the talking. It was a younger fellow doing the talking, you know. But always turn it on. These young girls doing these dances with these old weird men. We watch it for the moms. We watch it for the mom. Okay, even if you do, first off, that's weird. They got other shows that you're watching it for fully clothed moms of preteens, and the preteens are doing the stuff that's out there. Like, if it was the moms doing the dances, wearing all that stuff, whatever. But then you got people in here that are in here for that type of thinking, and you're going to entertain that? No. I was mad. And my mom said, it's like something I said when I was little. It says like there's a rubber band in my head stretched so far and it snaps. And I was like, my rubber band snap basically is what I think about it after the fact. But, you know, nothing came of it. But like I was mad enough ready to fight, because I was like, I'm sitting there watching. I hate people that, I mean, think pretty much everybody can agree. We don't like nobody messing with kids. But I hate watching these chomos sitting there with a grin on their face watching this stuff, and you know what they're thinking. Like, it really burnt me up. Like, normal people get annoyed, normal people get mad. Maybe I'm not normal, but it really made me so furious. And I went on a tirade, and they came up kind of like, yo, you said this, expecting me to cower down and talk about it quietly. Nah. I didn't get loud to attract attention from a CO or anything, but I spoke in a voice where everybody that was in the circle around me could understand it. Now, if I felt like if it was getting that fighting situation, immediately it would go to a quiet tone, like, let's go talk about this in another room. This isn't place, talk about this. Let's go in here and talk about this. It didn't get that point. As soon as they came with this look on their face and stood up and said that, and as soon as I'm going to tell you about, you know, They weren't trying to do anything. But man, it just talking about this makes me aggravated all over again. So we ended up watching the rest of the fight, and then the guys liked it. Guys who didn't typically watch MMA, you know, I created some storyline to get them hyped up about it. We watched The Ultimate Fighter upstairs. See, in TV room I had the remote for. A lot of the old guys, and you know, they just wasn't into it. You know, I'm not that type of person that I'm just going to go turn it on them and say, well, this is what I like to watch, so y'all are watching it. You know, I felt like a prick doing something stupid like that. You know, so I just went upstairs and tried to watch it. And they watched, and they wasn't watching nothing down there. They wasn't watching nothing. They just letting time pass. But a lot of the older people they really wasn't into it. So it just felt better to do it that way. Anyways, if you liked the video, press the like button. If not, it's 25 minutes and 40 seconds of your life in which you'll never get back. This is not the only time with this person, with the other people. You know, I've got plenty of stories about this fella too. This fella Tree. Yeah. I talked about people staying inside the building because they got something they're hiding. Talk about people when people go back to court and they're going back to testify. There's people that do that. There's some stories about him that everybody knew about. There's some very interesting stories. He went back like 3 times. Man, yeah, got some stories definitely about this dude. But man, just with that mumble talk, and that was crazy too. He had this dude who I was actually friends with, big old Muslim dude. He became his buddy, who was actually one of his friends. Big old Muslim dude with braids, curl. And it wasn't like good friends or nothing with him, but we, you know, got along decent. I was there when he became a Muslim. My cellie taught him how to pray in my cell. I'll talk about that another day. But I woke up at 3 a.m. going on. There's this big guy in my cell. My cellie, who's a little small Muslim guy. He's like, then you do this, then you go down, and all this. And I'm like, oh shoot, he's teaching him how to pray. You know, he must be converting. Yeah, Curl's a funny dude though. He called people on some stuff too. Stories about him, but it's funny because they were friends. Sometimes it's weird when you got somebody you're cool. We wasn't friends. We wasn't nothing like that. But like, you know, cool with, and then there's somebody who's like their friend that you just don't like him. I don't like him. I didn't like him, and there wasn't nothing he could do about it. And and I got vocal my second time back. My first time there, I thought, well, sometimes. Sasha here's Casey moving, but sometimes people, you know, when I got to prison, I heard stories about shanking this, and that. When I realized this is low security, you know, you're going to have some dust up with your fist, but there aren't any cameras here. You know, you can get it, and I realized there wasn't that severe response, wasn't as much of the gang jump and stuff like that. Yeah, I got vocal. I spoke a little bit more, put what I thought out there, you know. There's a sense in right and wrong that certain people have, that I have, that burns you up if you just sit there quiet and allow certain things to happen. And these old deviants sitting there watching this stuff really set me over the edge. I hate people messing with women and children. I despise. There ain't any excuse for that ever. So anyway, that's it.